Just want to let you all know that this is a re-upload of 2 videos that I did almost 4 years ago at this point, so don't judge my past self too harshly now, okay? A lot of things have changed since then. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this extremely summarized narration of the stories of BG1 and 2, which should help enhance your Baldur's Gate 3 experience, although it's not necessary to know all of this. Huge thank you to YouTube channel Eltamar Gaming, who let me use his Let's Play series so you guys could have some visuals. So make sure to go check him out. It's a wonderful, wonderful channel. I'll leave a link below in the video description. Your story begins in the citadel of Candlekeep, nestled atop the cliffs that rise from the Sword Coast. It's the year 1368 Dal Reckoning, which is just over 100 years before the story of Baldur's Gate 3 will begin. Within this fortress are halls of knowledge filled with the most comprehensive collection of writings on the face of Faerun. You have spent most of your 20 years of life within the keep's walls under the tutelage of the sage Gorion, who's acted as a father and a mentor to you. He raised you on 1,000 tales of battles and tragedies, and heroes and villains. But there's one story he would not tell, and that is of your true heritage. You have been told that you are an orphan and that your past is largely unknown, but deep down you feel there is much more to it than that. One day, Gorion started acting distant from you. You can tell something is weighing heavily upon him, uncharacteristically interrupting you from your daily chores. In an agitated state, he tells you to equip yourself for travel, for you are to go on an unexpected journey. A journey that he will not tell you what for, but it sounds urgent. As you gather supplies, you are approached by some residents of the keep, asking if you are the ward of Gorion, and stating things such as, "You don't look dangerous." One of the residents of the keep even attempts to kill you, but meets a grave end. You know something very troubling is going on. Why would someone attack you? You're just a young ward learning the ways of the world. You then learn from a guard of the keep that there is a serious iron shortage going on, creating tension between the city of Baldur's Gate and the wealthy neighboring nation of Amn. Iron is an extremely valuable resource in this setting, and it would be similar to us presently experiencing something such as an oil shortage. Feeling as prepared for your journey as you possibly can be given the circumstances, you head back to Gorion, who tells you that we must leave immediately, and that if we're ever separated from each other, you should make your way to the Friendly Arm Inn, where you will meet Khalid and Jaheira, whom you can trust. Not long after leaving the keep, you find yourself in the middle of an ambush where a mysterious armored figure, the leader of these bandits, tells Gorion to hand over your ward and no one will be hurt. Gorion yells for you to run away as he relentlessly attacks and holds back the bandits, only to be eventually cut down by their leader. Disturbed, frightened, and confused, you have escaped, but you are now alone, and cannot head back to the keep, for you will be denied entrance without the influence of Gorion to circumvent the steep entry fee. Knowing no other place to go, you decide to heed Gorion's words and head to the Friendly Arm Inn and seek help. Not long after you head out, your childhood friend and fellow orphan, Imoen, joins your company seeking to help. Upon reaching the outside of the inn and having to lie about your true identity for fear of what it may bring, you and Imoen enter the inn and meet Khalid and Jaheira. Although they offer no solutions as to why you are being attacked, they do offer their companionship. After hearing even more about the current iron crisis and the severity of it, you decide to investigate, and you and your newfound party head to the mines to the south near a town called Nashkel. Nashkel is currently gathering up adventurers to help solve the iron crisis, and this may offer some insight as to if there is a link between the iron shortage and what seems to be a bounty on your head. After successfully sabotaging the mine and learning that it was in fact under the control of the Iron Throne, you and your party decide to head to the city of Baldur's Gate to get to the bottom of this. Within the city, you find the Iron Throne headquarters, and you head inside. Through some clever words and eventually a hostile encounter, you end up learning that actual proof of the organization's involvement with the Iron Crisis was taken by one of the regional leaders, who is currently back in Candlekeep for an important meeting. You and your party decide to seek out Duke Elton, the leader of the Flaming Fist, which is a mercenary company that serves as the city's guard. You tell the Duke what you have learned, and he decides to give you a rare and valuable book, which will serve as the entry fee for you to get back into Candlekeep, where this mysterious meeting is being held. After traveling back to Candlekeep, which is south of Baldur's Gate, you head into the Citadel's library seeking new information, and you end up finding a prophecy written by the ancient seer Alando, foretelling how the offspring created in the time of troubles by the dead god Bhaal, the Lord of Murder, will sow chaos until only one remains to become the new Lord of Murder. The time of troubles took place not long before Baldur's Gate 1, and was a time when the gods of Faerun were forced by the overlord god Io to walk the land as mortals. Within this time, Bhaal, the Lord of Murder, was killed, but he left behind spawns of himself to help ensure his resurrection one day. I did do a lore video on the story of the Dead 3, which Bhaal was a part of. Link to that will be directly below. Learning of this prophecy becomes even more startling when you find a letter written by your former mentor, Gorion, stating that you, yes you, are among the offspring of Bhaal. You are a Bhaal spawn. This newly found information is intense, but it's starting to provide reasons for why you may have been attacked so many times since the day of Gorion's death. Soon after, your party is discovered and is charged with the murder of the Iron Throne leaders. Apparently, this meeting that was supposed to take place did not go as planned. You likely have not committed these acts, but depending on your decisions in the game, you may have actually been responsible. Either way, you have been arrested, charged, and imprisoned, and will remain in Candlekeep until you can be transported to Baldur's Gate to be executed. While imprisoned, your party is visited by a prominent leader in Candlekeep known as Tetheril, who reveals to you that the man responsible for Gorion's death is named Sarevok. Sarevok is a foster son of one of the Iron Throne leaders that were just murdered, and later on you will learn that he is actually responsible for these murders, if you didn't actually take the actions yourself. Tetheril then decides to teleport you and your party into the catacombs beneath the fortress to help you escape, for he believes you to be innocent. In the catacombs, you face off against doppelgangers, likely controlled by Sarevok himself, which are trying to kill you and your party. This must have something to do with you being a Bhaal spawn. Escaping the catacombs is not easy, but you and your party prevail and head back to Baldur's Gate. Upon arriving, you find yourselves accused of multiple crimes. Someone must be really wanting you and your party to be gone. While you were away at Candlekeep, the poisoning of Duke Elton took place in Baldur's Gate, and the Flaming Fist is now after you and your party. You have also been accused of assassinating one of the city's Grand Dukes, as well as playing a major role in the cause of the Iron Crisis. Something is going on here, and you need to get to the bottom of it before it costs you your life. Forced to stay low to not be spotted by the Flaming Fist, your party goes on to discover new valuable information. You learn that the Iron Throne has orchestrated the entire Iron Crisis to give themselves a monopoly over the iron trade, and with the rising tension between Baldur's Gate and Amn, the Iron Throne could then sell their stockpiled iron for extremely high prices. You also discover that Sarevok, the one trying to kill you, is also a Bhaal spawn like yourself. He is fueling the distrust between Baldur's Gate and Amn by making each think that the other is responsible for the Iron Crisis. This will cause war and chaos, and give him an opportunity to become the Lord of Murder. Sarevok had supported his foster father for many years until hearing of his father's meeting in Candlekeep. This meeting that took place could have actually created peace while greatly profiting the Iron Throne, but Sarevok needed war. He needed chaos, and to stop these plans he had to cause the death of the Iron Throne leaders, including his foster father, and take control of the group himself. He could then take the stockpiled iron to the city of Baldur's Gate, where he would be recognized as their savior, and Sarevok did just that. His plan was working, however he needed you to be dead to truly become the Lord of Murder. The assassin parties hired to kill you would make this quite evident. In order to stop this madness, you and your party gain entry into the palace where the coronation of Sarevok to become the Grand Duke of Baldur's Gate was to be held. Within the palace, you present your findings of what Sarevok has actually done, and this forces Sarevok to flee into an ancient underground ruin beneath Baldur's Gate. Knowing that Sarevok's assassination attempts and his evil schemes would never truly end, you and your faithful party head down to the underground ruins to find and kill him. Within an ancient temple of Bhaal, you confront Sarevok and ultimately defeat him, saving the Sword Coast from his evil schemes. In the final ending cinematic, Sarevok's tainted soul departs his body and travels deep underground to a large circular chamber of alcoves, where he destroys a statue of himself contained in one of the alcoves. It is now revealed that the other alcoves each contain a statue of a bhaal spawn that exists in Faerun. And that is the story of Baldur's Gate 1. Your story begins in the cold, dark dungeons deep beneath the city of Atkatla in the nation of Amn, which is south of Baldur's Gate. It's the year 1369 Dal Reckoning, just after the events of Baldur's Gate 1. Not long ago, you and your party had killed your half-brother Sarevok, who was a bhaal spawn like yourself, essentially saving the Sword Coast from his evil schemes with the Iron Crisis and his plans to become the Lord of Murder. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to keep you safe, for word has spread of your shared lineage with Sarevok. You are a spawn of the Lord of Murder, Bhaal, and many have been out to capture or kill you. You survive these assassination attempts for a while, but one day you find yourself captured and you awaken in a cage with severe pain racking through your bones. An elven mage stands in front of you and says, "Ah, the child of Bhaal has awoken. It's time for more experiments. The pain will only be passing. You should survive the process." This mysterious and dark mage then leaves to investigate an intrusion in his complex from a thieves guild known as the Shadow Thieves. With the mage temporarily gone, your childhood friend and a likely companion who stuck with you throughout Baldur's Gate 1, Imoen, appears and seems to have escaped her cage. She frees you and you discover Jaheira and the legendary Minsk and his hamster Boo, both characters from Baldur's Gate 1, imprisoned in cages nearby.
Minsk will be free! These bonds will not hold my wrath, but will be liberally kicked in good measure!
You set them free to either become companions of yours or for them to go their separate ways. Fighting your way through the underground complex, you learn more and more about the mysterious and dark mage who has imprisoned you, and he goes by the name John Irenicus. Finally escaping the complex, you emerge into the city of Atkatla, where you witness your captor, Irenicus, fighting off the Shadow Thieves' intruders. Irenicus destroys them in front of you and then turns his attention to you and your party. Out of sheer anger and relatable hatred, Imoen attacks Irenicus and a magical battle ensues. Unfortunately, a group known as the Cowled Wizards have caught on to this unsanctioned use of magic, and they appear on the scene and teleport both Irenicus and Imoen away to an asylum known as Spellhold.
What? No! I've done nothing wrong!
You have been involved in illegal use of magic. You will come with us.
I'm not going with him! I'm not! Help me!
The Cowled Wizards were a secretive cabal of wizards in Amn, who obsessively monitored the unsanctioned uses of magic, and those who were caught were oftentimes brought to the Residence for the Magically Deviant, Spellhold, a prison, asylum, and a place for experimentation on those that have violated the Cowled Wizards' rules of magic. You must now find and save Imoen, which will also lead to Irenicus and to answers long overdue. You head into the city of Atkatla in search of help. In the slums you meet a man named Galen Bhaal who offers you the help of a powerful organization that he says is the only way you'll be able to find Imoen. You later find out that this powerful organization is actually the Shadow Thieves themselves. However, this assistance comes at a hefty price of 20,000 gold pieces. Knowing no other way, you gather a party that you see fit for your goals, and adventure through the city and the surrounding lands in hopes of raising enough funds to return to Gal and save Imoen. Meanwhile, in Spellhold, Irenicus breaks free of his bonds and kills his captors. Within his new powerful base, he then resumes experiments on poor Imoen.
The new prisoner! He's escaped!
What? When? Where is he?
He's in the lower... Gods, no! He comes! He's here!
I cannot be caged.
During your quest to acquire enough gold for Galen, you fight trolls, undead, goblins, explore tombs, kill slavers, and possibly steal from nobles, until you finally meet an elven vampire named Bodhi. Bodhi is the head of a vampiric thieves guild that has a deep hatred for the Shadow Thieves. She knows that you're currently working for the Shadow Thieves Guild, and she offers an alternative. For 15,000 gold pieces and some help with destroying her rival guild, she says she can help you get Imoen. Bodhi also states that she has her own personal interest in Irenicus. Interesting. The decision is yours with whom to work with, the Shadow Thieves or this dark elven vampire. Whichever path you choose, your outcome will eventually lead you to a sailor named Saemon Havarian, who grants you passage on his ship Galante to the island called Brinlaw, where Spellhold is located. The journey across the sea turns out successful, and you arrive in a pirate town. You need to somehow gain entrance into Spellhold, so you head to the pirate lord Desheric's quarters and successfully convince him that you are insane and should be under the control of the cowled wizards in the asylum. You and your companions are sent to Spellhold, where you find Irenicus under no shackles. He tells you that this was his plan the entire time. With surprise on his side and his powerful magic, he puts you and your party to sleep, and you wake finding yourself in a capsule of some sort. Irenicus then reveals to you that Imoen is a ball spawn like yourself, which is why he is conducting experiments on the both of you. He then points around the room at all of the Shadow Thieves Guild members Bodhi has captured, and tells you that the deaths of them shall force the divine soul from you. The Shadow Thieves captives start to die one by one, until the last one falls and you find yourself entering a dreamlike state. In this dream you find Imoen, who tells you to summon the demon Bhaal, for together you can defeat him.
It has taken form to guide from within. You are strange among your kin. But it is weak and will not help again. You are empty inside. There is nothing within but the instinct.
Something is wrong. No, not again. Not again.
You awaken to find that your soul has been drained and the divinity within is gone. Imoen has suffered a similar fate, but is in a more hollowed and worsened condition. Her soul was given to Bodhi. Bodhi and Irenicus are now even more powerful, while you and your party are in weakened forms. Irenicus wishes to kill you, but his sister Bodhi has other plans, and surprisingly, Irenicus lets her do as she pleases. Your weakened party is then released to the maze dungeons beneath Spellhold, so that you may undergo a series of trials that you have to survive to prolong your life. It's more of a sick, torturous game than anything else. You and your party make it through the various traps and riddles, but near the end, Bodhi appears once again, not willing to let you leave.
Here, mousy, mousy. The hunt draws to a close, here and now.
Anger overwhelms you in your altered state, and you feel your control slipping as evil beckons you. Your body then involuntarily transforms into an avatar form of Bhaal, the Lord of Murder himself, a form known as Slayer. Bodhi, caught by surprise, retreats back to tell Irenicus of what has happened. You then return back to normal form before almost destroying your party. What just happened to you? With no choice but to move on, you and your party escape the maze and go on to release some of the mages that are currently prisoners of Spellhold. From there, you go on to find Irenicus. A great battle ensues, but you, your party, and the mages you have released prevail, forcing Irenicus to flee to the Underdark, for there's a secret entrance within Spellhold. You and your party pursue, but he does slip away. Within the Underdark, you get caught up with Drow, imprisoned by mind flayers, fight a beholder, and encounter various other evil lurkers of this deep and dark place. But ultimately, you do return to the surface world at a location where you encounter an elven legion from the elven city of Saldanesalar. From the elves, you find out that Irenicus has infiltrated their city and magically sealed the entrance, hiding the city from those seeking it, including the native elves. The elves tell you that in order to find the city once again and Irenicus within, your party must find an artifact, an ancient lantern called Rin Lanthorn. No magic can bar this lantern from returning to elven lands. The elves inform you that it has been stolen by a servant of Irenicus. It must have been Bodhi. You are given vials of the Wrath of Seldarine, which will prove effective against those who have wronged the temple where the ancient lantern was once kept. You and your party then leave the elven camp with an understanding that both you and the elves want Irenicus dead, and you can work together to achieve this goal. It's time to find and kill Bodhi and retrieve the artifact. Shortly after departing the elven camp, you run into perhaps the most legendary heroic adventuring party on the face of Faerun, the Companions of the Hall. Will you make friends with Drizzt or enemies? It's up to you. If you kill Drizzt, there's a special place in the 9 hells for you, but also let us know in the comments below because you're a damn good warrior. You and your party find Bodhi's crypt and defeat her and her vampire minions. After driving a stake through her heart, Imoen's soul is freed, and you find the ancient lantern within Bodhi's coffin. It's now time to head back to the elves of Saldanesalar. The ancient lantern proves its worth and guides you and the elves, revealing the entrance to the currently hidden city. Your party enters to find a beautiful elven city, but a city that is overrun by evil. You fight your way through the city and find Irenicus draining the power of the tree, which will ultimately doom the city and grant him immortality. Irenicus was once an elf of Saldanesalar himself, but he betrayed his people by attempting to become a god with his sister Bodhi, and they were both cast out of the city. Battling it out with Irenicus, you and your party defeat him, but because Irenicus has your soul, you are all dragged with him into hell.
I need it.
For the final battle against this ruthless, evil elven mage, your party strikes him down, ultimately returning your soul to your body. The elves of Saldanesalar honor your party, for you have saved their city. And that concludes the story of Baldur's Gate 2. Now there are some expansions to both of these games, Throne of Bhaal probably being the most important here, but I didn't get around to playing that one myself, so hopefully I can do that sometime soon, or at least do some research and maybe update you guys on what happens in that DLC. Thank you all so much for watching. There's a lot of videos in this updated lore playlist, even though this is a re-upload. There's a lot of new videos in this lore playlist. If you missed any of them, make sure to go check them out. I will leave a link below. And also thank you to new patrons of the channel. Big thank you, Patrick B, also Danny, Little Princess, Michael, Kirk, Austin, DJ Dungeon Master, and Sandra. I appreciate you guys. I'll catch you on the next one.